In Peru, transport unions call for an indefinite nationwide strike until they reach an agreement with the national government. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez continues with his official agenda in Russia as he holds paramount political activities. And the Nigerian police confirmed that the security forces rescued 76 travelers after they were abducted by unidentified gunmen in the northern state of Kaduna. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. In Peru, transport unions have called for an indefinite nationwide strike until an agreement is reached with the national government. Hundreds of public transport drivers said the strike will be indefinite and that it will only be lifted when the government agrees to their demands. The drivers are demanding the enforcement of a law that modifies the selective consumption tax by 70%, and they also request a reduction of fuel prices. Meanwhile, transportation companies in the provinces of Lima and Callao said they will keep public transportation services running as usual. In Venezuela, delegations from the government of Colombia and the National Liberation Army reinitiated peace talks on Monday. The parties expressed their gratitude for the willingness of the guarantor countries to resume talks in a political manner between the Colombian government and the ELN, as demanded by the citizens of the rural regions. And New York granted its first 36 licenses to sell cannabis in the state. The program is the first of its kind in the nation to award the licenses to people who were harmed by the decades-long prohibition on the drug. The first round of licenses are aimed at promoting social and economic equity and go to applicants that have been convicted of a marijuana offense when the drug was outlawed and live in a community that was disproportionately impacted by the prohibition. The applicants must also have run a profitable business for at least 2 years and own assets like a vehicle or a property and have a bank account. The licenses were chosen from over 900 applicants and include 28 business and 8 non-profits. In Spain, the death of the renowned Cuban singer-songwriter Pablo Milanés was confirmed. Milanés died at the age of 79 after living in the Spanish capital since 2017 to receive treatment for an oncohematological disease. Composer and guitarist Pablo Milanés Arias was born on February 24, 1945 in Bayamo, Granma province. After finishing his studies at the Municipal Conservatory of Havana, Milanés dedicated himself to perfecting composition, harmony, and guitar performance with important teachers. Among the most outstanding achievements of the artist stands out his participation in the foundation of the popular musical movement La Nueva Trova Cubana, together with Silvio Rodríguez and Noel Nicola. Milanés recorded his first album in 1969 and wrote over 400 songs during his musical career. Pablo Milanés leaves behind him a rich legacy in Cuban and Latin American music. Now, let's listen to one of Milanés' most iconic songs, performed alongside his daughter, Heidi Milanés. And we have more news coming up after a short break, so stay with us.
Que pongan freno a lo que siento ahora raudales. Te amo, te amo. acompañanta. Por eso a veces sé que necesito tu mano, eternamente tu mano.
Welcome back to From the South. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel, who is on an official visit to Moscow, condemned Western unilateral sanctions against Russia at a plenary session of the State Duma on Tuesday. The Cuban head of state also said that the causes of the Ukrainian conflict should be sought in the aggressive policies of the United States and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's expansion to the borders with the Russian Federation. President Díaz-Canel stressed that Cuba, while repeatedly condemning sanctions against Moscow, was in favor of a negotiated solution to the conflict in Ukraine.
Cuba strongly condemns the sanctions that are imposed today unilaterally and unfairly on the Russian Federation. The cause of the current conflict in this area must be found in the aggressive policy of the United States and in the expansion of NATO towards the borders of Russia, which Cuba has systematically denounced in international forums. Cuba, as it has expressed on many occasions, is in favor of a negotiated solution to the current conflict.
As part of their official agenda, Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel and his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, participated on Tuesday in the inauguration ceremony of a monument to the late Cuban leader Fidel Castro in Moscow. The Russian president said that Castro is rightly considered one of the most famous and charismatic leaders of the 20th century, a truly legendary personality. Putin stressed that the monument is inaugurated in the square that already bears the name of Fidel Castro, whom he referred to as an outstanding statesman and a politician, founder of the modern Cuban state. It is a 3-meter-high bronze monument representing Fidel in military uniform with his traditional beret, standing on a stone block with the map of Cuba. According to the materials of the Kremlin press service, the monument represents the heroic path of a man who defended the rights of the people in his country. Also, Russian President Vladimir Putin attended a ceremony to launch the nuclear-powered icebreaker Yakutia, which the Kremlin stated is amongst the world's largest.
Modern nuclear-powered icebreaker, the Yakutia, is ready to be launched from the stocks of the Baltic shipyard in St. Petersburg. Ships of such a high ice class are of strategic importance for us. They are needed for the study and development of the Arctic, to ensure safe, sustainable navigation in this region, to increase traffic along the Northern Sea route.
European parliamentarians celebrated on Tuesday the institution's 70th anniversary, stressing the need to reform and strengthen its diversity. The actual anniversary was on September the 10th, but a number of commemorative events are scheduled through next summer to mark the occasion. When it was first created, it was a consultative assembly made up of 78 appointed parliamentarians, drawn from the national parliaments of the 6 member states: Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. It got its actual name in 1962, with the first direct elections held in 1979. Nowadays, it is the EU's law-making body, with over 700 members of parliament hailing from 27 member states. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni presented the government's first economic policy initiatives on Tuesday. Meloni announced $21 billion in budget tweaks to help business and citizens cope with soaring energy prices, as well as measures to incentivize couples to have more children. The investment is also to encourage industries to hire more women. The Prime Minister said the choices are focused on two main priorities: helping Italian industry grow despite the energy crisis, and socio-economic initiatives for low-income families.
As we had promised, the biggest budget allocation would be to provide economic security for businesses and families to tackle high energy bills. Of a total budget of 35 billion euros, about 21 billion will be earmarked to solve high energy costs.
We'll take a short break now, but first, remember you can follow us on our TikTok account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news, updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Nigerian police confirmed that security forces rescued 76 travelers after they were abducted by unidentified gunmen from their truck on a road in the northern state of Kaduna. Mohammed Yalik, a police spokesperson in Kaduna State, said in a statement that they received a report saying many gunmen wielding sophisticated weapons blocked a road in the Jiwa local government area of the state to abduct innocent commuters. Yalik added that a combined team of police and military was immediately mobilized to the location and launched a search and rescue operation and encountered the gunmen during the process. Police forces said operatives continue within the general area in search of the truck driver and two other passengers who are yet to be accounted for. Now we move on to other topics. At a press conference in Beijing, the spokesperson of the National Health Commission of China, Mi Fen, stressed the importance of conducting epidemic prevention and work in a scientific and precise manner.
We must adhere to putting people first and putting lives first. Resolutely adhere to the general strategy of simultaneously preventing the import of case and the rebound of local infections and the dynamic zero-COVID policy. We must resolutely overcome the slacking and lapse mentality and the wait-and-see attitude. Persist in following the requirements of the 9th edition of the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Protocol and the 20 measures with no wiggle room. Act early and act fast. Conduct the epidemic prevention work in a scientific and precise manner. Regions with the epidemic resurgence must take swift actions to circle out risk areas, organize orderly nucleic acid tests, effectively take quarantine measures on people at risk of infection, and strictly regulate quarantine work. There be ensuring the region, the reliable department, the employer, and the individual all fulfill their responsibility and quickly stopping the spread of the epidemic.
And now we address other topics. Coffee producers in Brazil are feeling the effects of the continuing La Niña phenomenon, with the fluctuating temperature and precipitation patterns exacerbating droughts and flooding in different regions, damaging crops and putting a huge dent in harvests. The La Niña phenomenon involves abnormally cold sea surface temperatures in the eastern and central equatorial Pacific, with the current wave already lasting for nearly 3 years. As a result, crops in South American countries are struggling to meet their normal levels. Brazil is currently entering its spring and summer time, a critical period for the growth of local crops. But the market expects an inevitable decline in the country's major crops such as beans, corn, and coffee this year, as La Niña continues to cause disruption.
We could produce 50 bags of coffee beans per hectare 3 years ago, but now we can only produce 15 bags per hectare. The biggest challenge to coffee production in recent years has been the weather. We have had 3 years of continuous bad weather, which has seriously affected our production. We have experienced hail, frost, water shortage, high temperatures, and so on. The bad weather in successive years has greatly reduced our production.
And the death toll from an earthquake in Indonesia has climbed to 252, according to the local government of Cianjur town in the West Java province, said on Tuesday. So far, 31 people have been reported missing, while 377 injured in the strong earthquake that struck the Cianjur Regency on Monday. The Cianjur town government, in an Instagram post, stated, adding that 7,060 people have been displaced. According to the National Disaster Mitigation Agency, the earthquake has also caused huge damage to infrastructure and properties. The local regional disaster management agency is still collecting data regarding the number of victims, infrastructure damage, evacuation locations, and urgent needs. The agency's spokesperson Abdul Muhari said in a statement. Meanwhile, President Joko Widodo visited the affected areas and met with the locals. And a strong 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck the Solomon Islands on Tuesday, with eyewitnesses reporting violent shaking that hurled items to the ground and knocked out power in parts of the capital, Honiara. There were no immediate reports of serious structural damage to buildings, but power was out in some areas of the city, and people were rushing from their offices and fleeing to higher ground. The U.S. Geological Survey said the earthquake's magnitude down from an initial 7.3. The quake struck at a relatively shallow depth of 10 kilometers, just off the southwest coast of Guadalcanal Island. A tsunami warning was issued for an area of the Solomons coast with 300 kilometers of the epicenter. Some coastal regions of Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu were also put on alert for tsunami waves. And now, from Qatar, we have our correspondent Carlos Montero with a summary of the games that took place this Tuesday and the latest from the upcoming matches.
Today was a sad day for Argentine, who were pretty sure they were going to go home with the cup, but today we witnessed one of the biggest upset in a World Cup. Saudi Arabia, small team with not a tradition in football, beat the favorite one, Argentina, 2-1. We have to give credit to the Asian team. They played a nice, beautiful game, a lot of courage. Argentina was lost. The reason that now on the streets of Doha, Saudi Arabian fans are saying, where is Messi? Where is Messi? The big question that not only the Saudi people are asking, all of us who love soccer, we ask the same question. What's happened to Messi? Why he didn't play well today? Yesterday, in a press conference, he said he was in a perfect shape. Today, it was not the Messi that we are used to see playing. Argentina won the last 36 games. Today, playing again, a small team, they lost. Okay, that's life. What was the second game? Tunis and Denmark was a great game, but they finished with no goal, 0-0. Now we are in front of the stadium 974, because right now they are playing Mexico and Poland. They are in Argentina's group. Mexico is so happy, Mexico fans, with Argentina lose, because it gives them a big chance. Argentine fans, they want a tie after this game. But that's not all. Today was a busy day. Then, after the game, Mexico game, the champion are going to be here. Mbappe, one of the best soccer players in the world, the one to stop the malefice that the champion, the last champion, doesn't make it to the next group. Let's see what's happened. France is going to play with Australia. Australia, who barely make it to the World Cup, they did that thanks to beating Peru. But let's see what's happened. This is life. Sometimes the strongest one don't win, and the weakest, they go home with the 3 points. I'm going back to you to the studios.
And just as the hearts of millions of fans live the emotions of the Qatar 2022 World Cup, TeleSUR joins this sporting event with From the Field, a show that brings news, analysis, reviews, and more to our audience. Don't miss it. Our show airs 1 p.m. local time in Caracas and 12 p.m. New York. Remember, From the Field, only on TeleSUR. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.